Okay, so according to Kyle Shanahan, as he spoke to Bay Area reporters at the NFL's annual meeting, he did confirm that the 49ers will bring in a veteran kicker to compete with Jake Moody after the draft. So this is all going to take place after the draft. They're not going to draft another kicker. They're going to bring in a veteran guy to compete with Jake Moody to hopefully bring the best out of Jake Moody. Now, I'm more so a fan of the 49ers just moving on from Jake Moody personally. But I do think the 49ers, to some degree, have a soft spot for Jake Moody, given that he was one of their draft picks, one of their higher draft picks just a few years ago. But the fact of the matter is Jake Moody has not been what he should be. He's missed a lot of kicks. He's costed the 49ers a handful of games. And the least that the 49ers can do is bring in veteran kicking competition for Jake Moody. Obviously, I'm sure a lot of Niner fans out there are thinking, if Kyle feels that it's necessary for them to bring in a veteran kicker to compete with Jake Moody, why the hell are they not just releasing him and moving off of him anyway? And I get that. I'll be the first to say that I think it's it's the best interest for both parties to move on. But I do think that the 49ers feel as if, to some degree, last year, his ankle injury that he suffered that kept him out for multiple weeks had something to do with him not kicking the ball as well. And not only that, but again, the 49ers spent a pretty high draft pick on Jake Moody. He was drafted in the 2022 or 2023 NFL draft. He was the third-round pick. He was picked with the 99th overall pick in 2023. So that's a pretty high draft pick for a kicker. And I do think the 49ers want to weather the storm with Jake Moody and bring in a veteran kicker to compete with Jake Moody. And obviously, if that veteran kicker comes in and ends up beating Jake Moody out for the job, I think that then the 49ers would move on from Jake Moody. But I do think that they're giving him another shot. I mean, clearly they are. Newly acquired special teams coordinator Brant Boyer is in town now. I'm sure they probably asked him about what they should do. He probably gave his 2 cents in, and I think the 49ers probably just ultimately agreed as a staff to bring in veteran kicking competition for Jake Moody opposed to just outright releasing him. So we'll see what happens. Again, I've seen this coming. It was either going to be A, release Jake Moody, or B, bring in a veteran kicker to compete with him. Obviously, about a month or two ago, John Lynch did say that the 49ers still have belief in Jake Moody as their kicker for the future. And I made a video on that, and I even mentioned in that video as well that I think it's best for them to move on from Jake Moody, but they clearly aren't fully just giving up on him yet, and that's why they're bringing in a veteran kicker to compete with Jake Moody. And again, this will be after the draft, so we'll see what happens with Jake Moody in the kicker competition this offseason and in camp and whatnot. It's definitely going to be one of the situations to monitor in San Francisco, like many others. Obviously, today marks the end of the Brandon Ayuk trade speculation. He will remain on the 49ers roster for 2025. John Lynch confirmed that when talking to reporters. So obviously that's off the table now. The biggest storyline is going to continue to be Brock Purdy's contract negotiations and when a deal might get done with Brock Purdy. But there are many other situations to monitor. Brandon Ayuk's timetable and his potential return. George Kittle's contract extension. He is in talks with the 49ers as well for a contract extension. But again, the biggest of them all is the the Brock Purdy contract negotiations. But again, you can add the Jake Moody kicker competition to the mix as well as a situation to monitor going into camp and into the draft and the offseason for the 49ers. So let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below. I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably going to be irritated that they're not moving on from him. But I guess in a way, look at the bigger picture. I mean, the 49ers spent a very high draft pick on Jake Moody, 3rd round, pick 99. And instead of outright releasing him, I think they probably think that ankle injury that he suffered had something to do with his struggles last year. But the fact of the matter is he will not be outright released unless, of course, he gets beat out in the quarterback or in the kicker competition. But we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, it's definitely interesting to see what's going to happen with this situation. But let me know what you guys think of this in the comments down below. As always, go Niners. I'll see you guys in the next one.